and welcome ladies and gentlemen to Garrosh Hellscream 10-man normal in the Siege of Orgrimmar raid, and this is the Boomkin guide. And first of all, I'm gonna say I was actually done with Siege of Orgrimmar normal mode guides for Boomkins, because I thought it's way too late. Okay, Garrosh has been killed like a month ago, and I thought that you guys wouldn't be interested in it anymore, but apparently you guys are interested, because every now and then I get a message saying, hey, what about Garrosh? I would like a couple of tips for Garrosh. So here's the guide. Now there is one more thing I want to talk about before I delve into talents, and that is the fact that if you follow this guide and if you will actually do what I tell you to, you will do less damage than other people in your raid, probably. And there's a simple reason for that, because everyone and their mum will choose DPS on ads, okay? They will cleave the living shit out of them. And it's basically wasted damage. Yes, they're battling the damage meter, they might be winning the damage meter, but it's useless damage, because these ads will die by the Iron Star in a couple of seconds. So they just wanna win the DPS meter and they don't care about the actual boss fight. So if you wanna compete with them, pick Incarnation, Nature's Vigil, and pop your cooldowns when the ads come, when the ads join the fight, and just cheese the living shit out of them. And after that you can unsubscribe from my channel, because you're a horrible person and you're choosing DPS instead of doing the boss properly. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about the talent. So Displacer Beast is a definite must for this fight, okay? The common tactic for Garrosh is to have 4 marks around Garrosh, and you will move from one to another as desecrates come. Okay, so you will have a desecrate, you will move to another mark, another desecrate, you will move to another mark, and with Displacer Beast you don't have to move all that much. So, you know, desecrates coming, you blink to the next mark, and you can start doing DPS again. Ysera's Gift or Renewal. Now, if you're worried about your survivability, which you should not be on Garrosh, then pick Renewal. If you're not worried about your survivability, pick Ysera's Gift, because it will do more healing over the course of the entire fight and you don't have to press the button. Next we have Typhoon, which goes really well with Ursul's Vortex. Now, on Garrosh, you will have a couple of ads and you will have an Iron Star. This Iron Star will start rolling across one side of the room, and you can Typhoon the ads into the Iron Star or underneath the Iron Star, and the Iron Star will kill them. If you combine it with Ursul's Vortex in a way that you Typhoon them underneath the star and then you drop Ursul's Vortex, they can't move out of the way of the star and they will die. This is extremely useful if you have squishy tanks, but if you have well-geared tanks, they'll probably stand in the Iron Star and actually get hit by it for more vengeance. But if your tanks are squishy, you can Typhoon the ads into the Iron Star and then drop Ursul's Vortex underneath them, and it will keep them there. And Heart of the Wild, because it's Heart of the Wild, and Heart of the Wild is amazing. Now, for Heart of the Wild, you have a couple of uses. The best use probably is in the Shah Realms. If your healers want to save cooldowns for the 3rd phase and you're currently in one of the Shah Realms, you can pop Heart of the Wild and basically heal through the entire Shah Realm yourself. Okay, and your healers just have to heal every now and then, but they don't have to use cooldowns. The second situation where you can use it in is towards the end of the fight, because the damage starts going up quite a bit. But even if you're 2 healing this fight, your healer should not have problems keeping everyone up. The damage isn't that high. So let's start with the tips. So tip number 1, Desecrated Weapon is your friend. As soon as Desecrated Weapon hits the ground, you need to dot it up. You will get additional Star Search procs, but it will also help your raid, because you will slowly wear the Desecrated Weapon down, and eventually it will actually get destroyed, so you have more room to maneuver in. And this is cool because of a couple of things. Now, the Desecrated Weapon will die even if your raid is not focusing it. Okay, if you have a like a shaman that will throw a flame shock on it, and a couple other dots, you don't have to focus this desecrated weapon, and it actually increases your damage done to Garrosh because you get more shooting stars procs. So it will save your raid a lot of target switching, and it will also increase your DPS. So always do that. Except for the third phase, where desecrated weapons or the empowered desecrated weapons are indestructible, so in that case, just kick Garrosh in the Jimmy as hard as you can. Tip number 2, Stampeding Roar is extremely powerful on this fight. Okay, don't use it just because it's off of cooldown, but save it for the Sharealms. Now, only 2 out of these 3 Sharealms are kind of viable for Stampeding Roar. First one is the Red Crane Temple, I think it's called, Sharealm. The one where you go downstairs and group 1 goes left, group 2 goes right, or whatever your setup is. And then the Terrace of the Endless Spring Sharealm. If you pop Stampeding Roar there, you will finish it so damn fast. It's absolutely amazing. So you just have to have Stampeding Roar for these 2 Sharealms. The third Sharealm is the Temple of the Jade Serpent, I think, Sharealm, and you don't really need Stampeding Roar there, so I would just not use it there. Just save it for the next Desecrate when the raid has to move, so they can get to their position and start doing DPS as fast as possible. But for the Red Crane Temple and for Terrace of the Endless Spring, you just have to have Stampeding Roar. Watch your timers. Tip number 3, when someone gets mind controlled, drop Solar Beam on them as they are casting, because Solar Beam is kinda weird right now. If you use Solar Beam on a mob, it will interrupt him, but it won't prevent him from casting spells, which I think kinda defeats the point of having something like Solar Beam, but treat it as an interrupt, okay? If you drop it too early or too late, it's useless. Just treat it as an interrupt. It has a 1 minute cooldown, but it can still help your raid. Tip number 4, Celestial Alignment can and will get you killed if you're not careful with it, and if you're irresponsible and you're dotting everything that has a health bar. I'm saying this because if you're using Celestial Alignment when it comes off of cooldown, you will most likely have Celestial Alignment for the first empowered Worldling Corruption that will start spawning ads underneath people. If these ads die within a certain radius of each other, they will buff themselves. Okay, so if an ad dies and there are 2 more ads really close to him, they will get buffed a lot. So be really careful and don't be like me on our first pull where the empowered Worldling Corruption started. I was like, oh, I have Celestial Alignment, I'm gonna dot these fuckers up, and then I died. So be really careful. Even if the empowered Worldling Corruption is going on and you have Celestial Alignment, just dot only 1, maybe 2 of these ads if you know someone has a really strong threat generation. But just don't carpet bomb it, you will die. Now let's talk about Tranquility. And Tranquility is really dangerous on this fight, because if you want to cast Tranquility, you have to stand still. And the best moments for Tranquility on this fight require movement. So, for instance, if you're in the Sharealm and healers are saving cooldowns for the next Empowered Worldling Corruption or the normal Worldling Corruption, they have to save cooldowns, so it would be really good for you to use Tranquility. No, because Garrosh is gonna hit you with this crazy frontal cone attack and kill you. Another good example, or another good situation where to use Tranquility, is with the Empowered Worldling Corruption, because everyone has to move. You can't stack up, and healers have to basically binge heal people as they see fit. But if you use Tranquility there, now remember, these ads burst out of the ground, and they will burst out of the ground underneath you, dealing damage to you. And you will probably take aggro. So you just have to communicate with your healers, and they will probably want you to use Tranquility during like the last Empowered Worldling Corruption or something like that, because with the normal Worldling Corruptions, they can stand still and AoE heal in a priest bubble or whatever. So they will probably want your help in this Empowered Worldling Corruption, which means that you have to tell everyone in your raid to do as much threat as possible, because if they won't, if they just auto attack the ads, you will take aggro and you will probably die. And now let's talk about the Sha Realm. So the Temple of Red Crane, as soon as your raid enters this Sha Realm, use Stampeding Roar, run down the stairs, and continue your normal rotation. There is one big ad that just needs to be DPS down. The Terrace of the Endless Spring Sha Realm, once again, as soon as your raid enters this realm, pop Stampeding Roar and keep running. Okay, don't do any damage, it's useless. It will just kill a small dude every now and then, and will actually make it harder for your raid to collect the cleansing bubbles. But as you're nearing the platform where Sha used to be, in the normal Terrace of the Endless Spring, start dropping down mushrooms in the spot where your tanks will stand and where all the ads will be. Okay, as soon as the ads get there, blow up the mushrooms and start hurricaning or astrostorming. And the Temple of the Jade Serpent Sha Realm is the worst one because Stampeding Roar is a waste in my opinion. Okay, it's too small and the ads are kind of medium. They're the really bad type of ad that you can't AoE down. You can't just AoE them, hurricane them or astrostorm them, because there is only 3 of them per pack. But they also have very little health, so it's useless to use dots. So basically, the best thing to do for this realm is, if your timing is good, you can save Starfall and tell your raid, oi, pull both of those groups really fast because I want to get a couple of stars there. Or if you're in Solar Eclipse, just start casting Wrath and Star Search, and if you're in Lunar Eclipse, Star Search and Moonfire. Okay, Starfire is too long of a cast, and the ad will probably die before you finish casting Starfire. And the last thing I want to say is there is one ad that you will focus your fire on, and that is the Wolf Rider, because he can heal Garrosh, and he will cast Chain Lightning and do quite a bit of damage to your raid. So as soon as he comes, switch from Garrosh to this Wolf Rider. Keep your dots on Garrosh the entire time if possible, but switch to this Wolf Rider and try to get him low enough so the Iron Star kills him. But anyway, that's about it for this fight. I can't think of anything else. And yeah, you made it through. Golf clap for you. And I thank you all for watching. I will see you next time. Bye bye.